Now what's different about question 2 is that they've now eliminated the graphing step. So all we have to do is the solving step and not the graphing element that we learned yesterday. We've got d plus 11 is greater than 6. So we're going to have to go ahead and solve this out just like we would with an equation. We're going to say to ourselves, keep that variable on the left. So variable d being on the left is a good thing. And numbers on the right, so 6 being on the right side is a good thing. Which means the only thing that's not so good here is the 11. The 11 is going to have to move. Remember, when I want to move something to the opposite side, I do the opposite. So since I want to move it to the right side of the inequality sign, I'm going to do the opposite. Well, look at the 11. It's got addition in front of it, so the opposite is going to be to subtract 11 from both sides. And when I do 6 minus 11, 6 minus 11 is going to give me negative 5. So d has to be some value bigger than negative 5 in order to make the inequality true. They can check this here. They notice here what they're doing. As you can see from the partially filled in sentences, they've tested this with 0. Why 0? Well, remember, any number that's bigger than negative 5 should work. 0 is indeed bigger than negative 5. So they plug 0 in here for d, and they say 0 plus 11, is that bigger than 6? Well, yes, 11, when you solve this out, is bigger than 6. So since 0 is greater than negative 5, which satisfies the inequality, and 0 did check out, we know that our answer or our solution to the inequality here does make some sense. And again, you could pick any number that satisfies the inequality. If you want to test it with negative 4.9999999, you can. That is bigger than negative 5. It will satisfy the inequality. Edgar's August profit of $137 was at least $20 higher than his July profit. What was his July profit? So notice they've broken this down for us to solve first piece by piece. They're saying his August profit, which we learned right here, was $137. Well, it was at least, meaning some amount more than, $20 higher than July's profit. $20 higher than, that's going to be 20 plus July's profit. Some people might be looking at this as saying least. Why isn't that less than? Well, think about it. If I said you're at least 20 years old, does that mean then you're then 19 years old? No. If you're at least 20, you've got to be 20 years old, or 21 years old, or 22 years old, some amount higher. So they've consolidated this inequality then by just kind of squeezing the elements together, but you can see that we're not going to like this inequality so much. We probably would not solve this inequality this way, because notice the variable is on the right side. We don't want the variable on the right side. We want the variable on the left side. So we're going to go ahead and flip this around and rewrite this as 20 plus p is less than or equal to 137. Remember, I'm just flipping the sides like I would do in an equation, and notice when I did that flipping element there that the inequality sign still opens the exact same way. Here the inequality sign opened up towards 137. Notice here it's still opening up towards 137. You do have to preserve that question, that inequality sign, to have the same meaning even when it's flipped around. Alright, so now, what do we know? We like the variable p on the left side, and we like the number 137 on the right side. So the thing that's not so good is the 20 here. 20 is going to have to move. So how are we going to move 20? Well, we're going to subtract 20 from both sides here. Remember, that's how we're going to make the number part go to 0 and just leave me variable p. 20 minus 20 is 0, which just leaves me p. And that's going to be less than or equal to, in this case, 117. So p is less than or equal to $117. Notice we had to change that one little line there because they solve their inequality with the variable on the right side, which you can do, but it's the process of making sure we know how to do that, and that might be too much of a mental leap here. So we're sticking with that variable on the left side, which is why I had to flip that sign around there they had in the middle. So what does this mean in context? It was $20 higher than July's profit, which means his profit in July would have been at most $117 or some figure less. Remember, that's what this inequality would imply. with P less than or equal to 117, it's exactly 117 or it's some amount smaller. All right, so number one, we're supposed to solve and then graph the solution set on the number line. So we're doing both components here. B minus 14 is greater than or equal to negative 8. So looking at this particular question, we know that the variable b being on the left is a good thing, and number 8, negative 8, being on the right side is a good thing. So the only troublemaker here is going to be the 14. So we're going to have to look at moving 14 out of the way, and I'm going to move 14 by adding 14 to both sides. So the minus 14 plus 14, those cancels each other out. That's just going to leave b behind. And negative 8 plus 14, that's going to change into, of course, what's going to equal 6. So b has to be greater than or equal to 6. Well, let's talk about now graphing that on a number line. Since it's one of the symbols that has the line underneath, we're going to use a filled-in dot on the number 6. And then we're going to shade. How are we going to shade? Well, remember, it's in the same way that the inequality sign points. Since that inequality sign is pointing to the right, indicating I need to find the numbers that are bigger than 6, like 7, 8, and 9, those are also to the right. I'm going to shade to the right on my number line. And so that's my solution set for the inequality. Here's a plus 15 is less than or equal to 20. So not graphing, just solving here. So variable on the left, a being on the left is a good thing. Number on the right, 20 on the right is being a good thing. So 15 is going to have to move here. How am I going to move 15? Well, I'm going to do the opposite. Since 15 has an addition sign in front of it, the opposite would imply that I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. And when I do that, that's going to give me a is less than or equal to, in this case, 5. So any number less than or equal to 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 on down, is going to make the left side and the right side generate a true statement. All right, finally, number 3. Last year, the football team had at least 8 more takeaways than they did last year. Last year, they had 10 takeaways. How many takeaways did they have this year?